It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Thursday, November 6th. Bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily News Center, I'm Mac Watson. Brought to you by the University of Wyoming Center on Aging. Did you know that 1 in 3 Wyoming adults have prediabetes and most don't realize it? Are you tough enough to know your numbers? Take the quiz at findoutwy.org. After the deaths of Vice President Cheney and conservative influencer Charlie Kirk, people have mocked them and left hateful messages all over social media. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that Wyoming pastors are saying that this behavior isn't condoned in the Bible.
I talked to 3 Wyoming pastors who range from quite on the left to quite on the right to just generally conservative. And they all were like, there's not an occasion for this in the Bible. There's no one pure enough to spit on someone else's grave.
Scott Clem is a member of the Campbell County Commission, and he tells Cowboy State Daily that, quote, it's pretty dehumanizing when we attack people after their death and especially right upon their death. Cows across Wyoming might soon be corralled by electronic collars that vibrate to tell them where to go or shock them when they stray. Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines introduces us to virtual fencing.
If you've been to maybe an upscale neighborhood and you see that people have dogs, but they don't have a physical fence around their house, they have a collar on the dog with perimeter control. It's the same thing, but just scaled up for cattle. And what's interesting about this, or what's exciting about this from a Wyoming point of view, is that fencing is a huge topic when it comes to wildlife, because there might be fences across wildlife migration routes or across routes where deer travel regularly between bedding areas and feeding areas and watering areas. And so there is a concern about fencing impeding wildlife movement.
3 Sheridan area ranches this year tried virtual fencing through a pilot program sponsored by the Sheridan Community Land Trust. And one rancher tells Cowboy State Daily he's so pleased with the results, he's ordered more collars to run 400 cows with virtual fencing. The Rockefeller family has owned a remote retreat with unparalleled Grand Teton views going on half a century. But Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean reports the property is for sale for just under $13 million.
You've got the view of the Grand Tetons. It's just unparalleled. You got an outdoor swimming pool, which outdoor swimming pools in Jackson Hole are very rare. The house itself was designed by some hoity-toity architect. He was well known for his timeless designs that stand the test of time. It's 8,000 square feet with 7 bedrooms. These are all, quote, ensuite bedrooms, which means you got a little sitting room, you've got your own bathroom, you've got a nice big roomy bedroom with plenty of space for all your stuff. There's a 6-bay garage, so plenty of room for all the toys, vehicles, and the like.
The reason the Rockefellers are selling the property is a reflection of changing times, the realtors tell Cowboy State Daily. And, quote, the family is scattered, so it's hard to get everybody together, unquote. I'll be back with more news right after this.
I'm Reed Reisner. Wyoming's not just where I live, it's who I am. I've worked hard to support local families, veterans, and small business owners, because when they succeed, our whole state gets stronger.
Reed Reisner, focused on Wyoming's economic growth and long-term prosperity.
I'm Reed Reisner, and I'm committed to Wyoming's future.
Learn more about Reed Reisner and OmniVest Financial at omnivestfinancial.com.
Who in the Wyoming legislature is a member of the Freedom Caucus? Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that through a slew of point-blank inquiries this week, Cowboy State Daily has determined a number.
31 members, either from past reporting or interviews this week, evidence that they are not Freedom Caucus members. That's squarely half of the House and a majority of its Republican representation. 17 people clearly identified themselves as Freedom Caucus members, which is more than the website actually lists. 3 gave equivocal answers, things like, look at my voting record, or I wear a lapel pin, or I don't want to answer. And then 5 didn't get back to us at all.
The Wyoming Freedom Caucus describes itself as a group of state legislative representatives dedicated to limited government and protecting the freedoms and liberties of Wyomingites. It's known for championing property tax cuts, pro-life laws, and transgender bathroom and sports restrictions. While Wyoming's stretch of Interstate 80 is currently in good shape, maintenance is key. Cowboy State Daily's Jackson Walker reports that it's an expensive proposition for the upkeep of this busy stretch of an interstate.
Estimates from the Wyoming Department of Transportation, or WYDOT, say that it could cost over $1 billion to completely reconstruct the entirety of I-80 as it stretches across Wyoming. While the road is in good condition currently, this doesn't mean that in the future it may need to be reconstructed, given the fact that WYDOT is facing a projected $400 million budget shortfall. This has forced the department into what it calls a preservation mode, meaning that it's focusing on trying to maintain roads rather than making improvements that'll make it easier for everyone to use these highways.
Those numbers translate into costing $2.6 million per mile to rebuild, and that doesn't include the costs associated with passing lanes, ramps, and bridges. After surviving a crash and a week alone in the Wyoming wilderness, a dachshund named Chewy was found by a couple and traced back to his relieved owner in Oregon. Cowboy State Daily's Scott Schwebke reports on how this little wiener dog will be reunited with its grateful owner.
Come to find out that about a week or so later, a couple were driving on I-80 and spotted this little dachshund, decided to try to rescue it. Took a while to corral it. They finally got the dog, had no tags. They took it to Laramie to a humane society, and they scanned the tags, found out the identity of the dog and the woman, and contacted her. The dog doesn't seem to be hurt, and now there's an effort that's going to take place where a FedEx driver that's also been involved in this has arranged for the dog to be delivered to the woman within the next couple of days.
Kenny Coombs, a long-haul trucker for FedEx who makes several trips a week between Salt Lake City and Scottsbluff, Nebraska, tells Cowboy State Daily that he was surprised when a friend tagged him in a Facebook post from Cody detailing Chewy's rescue. He's arranged for a fellow FedEx employee to deliver the dog to its owner in Portland, Oregon. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel or listen to us on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for watching. I'm Mac Watson for Cowboy State Daily.